Hello everyone and welcome to Math Eye at Home. I'm Megan and today we're going to be making bookmarks from homemade pressed flowers. Now that it's summertime, the world around us is absolutely full of beautiful plants. First we have flowers, which come in any color imaginable, and they look so beautiful, so many different shapes and textures and sizes. They're incredible to look at and they also smell amazing, and yet usually we walk by and have no idea what they are and pretty soon forget about them. The trees and shrubs are also full of these lush green leaves of so many sizes, shapes, and textures. Plant pressing is a beautiful way to get out in nature, discover some new plants, and collect botanical cuttings to use in many different decorations. Today we'll be making bookmarks. For this activity, we really won't need much. We're going to need a large book and some absorbent paper, like tissue paper or paper towel, and some scissors. And we'll need some clear contact paper, or if you don't have that, you could use clear tape or glue and some colored paper. I'll be using this Trader Joe's bag that I'll cut up into bookmarks for my not contact paper craft. Once you have all of your materials gathered, the first thing to do is to head right outside and start foraging. So I'm going to show you how to do it, so I recommend that you watch that section first and then go outside for yourselves. So almost immediately as we begin our walk, I can already see some flowers if we just look down. So already there's so many flowers here. These are our clover flowers. You've probably seen clover around before, and you may have even found a lucky four-leaved clover. Now, clover is just a common name that refers to a bunch of flowering plants that have 3 leaves. For the most part, clover plants can actually be really diverse, and they make some super beautiful wildflowers. I feel like I've been seeing these small white clover flowers pretty much everywhere this whole summer. Clover is also best pollinated by bees, which makes them a super duper important species for our really important pollinators. So let's pick some of these and put them in our bag and then continue on our way. This one looks really pretty. So while I'm walking looking for some flowers, now is as good a time as any to talk to you guys about picking wildflowers. So as you can see, there's a lot and they are beautiful, but we don't want to pick so many that we ruin it for other people. I like to follow the 1 in 20 rule, which means that if there's 20 wildflowers, I'll pick one of them. That way there's still enough for others to enjoy. I also like to use Seek, which is a plant identification app, which will help me know if a plant is endangered or dangerous before I pick it. Definitely stay away from these two, poison ivy and cow parsnip, because they'll make you itchy. Flower that I used in my bookmark, this is called Daisy Fleabane, and it's another great choice, and it's really pretty. I also highly recommend dandelions, although they weren't in bloom for me right now. This tree right here is our sugar maple. If you're a pancake or a waffle lover, this name is probably already super duper familiar. This tree produces a sap that is usually collected in early spring and then boiled down to make the concentrated syrup that I love so much. That makes this one of my favorite trees. And don't the leaves have such a cool shape? There are some protected wildflower species in Michigan. These include all trillium species, bird's-foot violet, all native orchid species, wild hyacinth, false indigo, pipsissewa, purple turtlehead, and trillium arbutus. If you see any flowers that look like these, do not pick them. And always make sure that whatever flower you pick, you've looked up online and made sure that it's not a protected or dangerous species. Okay. Now that I've shown you how to collect your own flowers, go out and get some of your own and then come back when you're ready to press them. Alright, so you have all your flowers and leaves now and you're ready to press them. This should be done really soon after collecting them so they don't get wilted. So all we're going to need for this is a big book. I'm using an ecology textbook, a roll of paper towel or tissue paper, something absorbent that's going to help soak up the water, and of course your freshly picked flowers. Don't be intimidated. Flower pressing is a super easy process. Basically all we're doing is pressing them flat and then letting all of the moisture soak out so that they won't mold or rot. This means that our flowers will be very well preserved. So first we're just going to open up our book and then lay some tissue paper or paper towel, whatever you're using, on both of the pages. Like this. It's super windy today, so my paper towel is just absolutely flying away, but that's okay because we'll work really quickly. So the next thing we're gonna do is lay our leaves or flowers down, whatever we're pressing. We wanna make sure that the way we lay them is the way we want them to look in the end. So you can press your flowers many different ways and they'll look completely different at the end. So make sure that they're nice and flat and all the petals are shown exactly the way you want them to before you finish pressing. Once you have your flowers situated exactly how you want, go ahead and close up your book very slowly and carefully so as not to disturb the flowers from how you've laid them out. Once your book is closed, I recommend turning it over so that all of the weight is on top of your flowers, and then depending on how heavy your book is, adding a few more on top to really weigh it down, because this will help speed up the drying process. Botanical pressings usually take about a few days, 2 to 5 roughly. You can check on your flowers in a few days, but it may take them a little bit longer to dry. I have to give my own flowers some time to dry, so I'll see you all in a few days. All right, and we're back. As you can see, it's been a few days, and our flowers are finally dry. So let's pop them open and see what they look like. Here's what mine look like completely dried. Yours should look like this too, and they should feel completely dry to the touch. Notice how they look thin, paper thin, and are completely flattened. Once they look like this and feel almost papery to the touch, they're so dry, then your flowers are ready to go. So now that I've shown you how to press your own flowers, why don't you go out, press yours, and then come back once your flowers are all dry and ready to be made into bookmarks. All right, now that our flowers are completely dry, let's learn how to make some bookmarks. Okay, so I'm gonna start off with my contact paper and I'm gonna cut it into 2 bookmark shaped pieces. They need to be the same size. Once your pieces are cut, you just peel away the contact paper from the protective paper, and this will allow us to put our flowers down exactly how we want them to be laid out. It's a little bit tricky, but once you get it, it's such a satisfying peel. And then we're just gonna put our flowers down on our contact paper like this. It took me a little bit to find a layout that I liked, but just be patient and put your flowers in a way that looks beautiful to you. Once you're happy with how your flowers are arranged, you can put the second piece of contact paper down on top of your flowers. Be really careful with this, go slowly and try to smooth it out so that you don't create any air bubbles in your bookmark. Press down really hard to try to make it as smooth as possible. And then you want to cut away any excess so that there's no sticky marks or stems of your plants hanging out over the bookmark. And then if you don't have contact paper, we are going to use some colored paper and another sticky source such as clear tape or glue. So first you just cut another bookmark shaped piece. Here I am cutting mine out to the exact size I want. Once you have your bookmark ready, you just want to lay out your botanical cutting on there exactly as you want. My leaf is a little bit too big, so I'm actually going to have to cut it in half to make it fit. And then I'm going to glue this down. I'm just going to use some dabs of white school glue. You could also use Mod Podge, or you could use packing tape or contact paper to cover it on top of the cardboard, or whatever colored paper you're using. And then you lay it down, you trim off the excess again, and you have another perfect bookmark. I honestly can't believe how beautiful these flowers are. Have you ever wondered why flowers are so beautiful and have such interesting colors and textures? So flowers actually use up a lot of their energy to look this way, and it's all in order to attract pollinators. Pollinators can be a lot of things. In this case, it's usually bees and butterflies, but flowers can also be pollinated by wind or birds depending on the flower. In the case of these flowers that we collected today, the birds and the butterflies that are hoping to attract are really interested in the colors that the flowers are made of. They see these beautiful colors and they know that the flower is offering them nectar, which they need to survive. And so they come visit the flowers, and in the process they get pollen all over their bodies, and then when they fly to the next flower, they pollinate it. After they've been pollinated, these flowers are then able to produce fruits and, most importantly, seeds, because they allow the flower to reproduce and make more plants for us to enjoy. Well, now you've made some beautiful bookmarks. If you're not that big into reading, then these make a really good present to give to a family or a friend. But I really like books and I already know what book I'm going to put this in. I hope that you make good use of your bookmarks and use it as a way to remember to enjoy and appreciate the beauty in the world around us. I'd love it if you could share your experience making these bookmarks in the comments below with me. Otherwise, if you really enjoyed looking at all these flowers and trees and you want to see more, you should come visit us here at Math Eye. I hope that you come to visit soon. Bye!